welcome to this Zoom training video for beginners. My name is Alice Reeves and I'm director of The Joyful Web. We're a digital marketing agency who supports good businesses. So in this video, I'm going to talk you through how to use Zoom to conduct virtual meetings, workshops, and classes through your business. I'm going to talk you through how to choose your plan, set up an account, and start scheduling meetings. And then I've invited some business owners to join me on a call while I talk you and them through all of the features that are available to you within the Zoom platform. After we'd finished our training session, the business owners on the call then stayed on and we had a Q&A session where we spoke about using Zoom for their business. They had an opportunity to ask some questions and share some ideas. So we thought we'd add that onto the end of the video in case that helps you too. So enjoy and good luck using Zoom. So the first thing you want to do to sign up to Zoom is go to zoom.us and decide what plan it is that you want. So at The Joyful, we have this plan, which is the $11.99 a month plan for small teams. And but there is a free version as well. So you do have the opportunity to try it for your business, see if you get on with it before you commit to buying. The key difference between the free plan and the pro plan is that on the free plan, your meetings are limited to 40 minutes. What that means is at the end of 40 minutes, if you have more than 2 people within one call, your meeting will just stop. So that means that everyone, if they want to continue with the meeting, they have to sign out and then hop back in again to another call, which does get a bit annoying. So if you're using Zoom in a professional sense, that really is the key reason to go for the $11.99 a month version, which is what we have. When you sign up for your free account using a work email address, but I'm going to sign in because we already have our account here. So here we go. So when you go into your account, if you go to your profile, you've got the opportunity here to change your profile picture. You have the opportunity to change your name. So we're Joyful Zoom, but I could also change that to my personal name. Essentially what that means is that when I am in a call, this is the name that is displayed underneath my picture. So it is good for meetings to have your first and last name. People know who you are, they can refer to you. You can add in all of these other details as well if you wish to. We've just got our company in there for now, but I could pop in here that I'm the director of the company. I could put in here what my department is, as much information as I want to. None of it is essential. And I can pop right in here as well. So I'm going to hit Save Changes. Then underneath here, you'll see a personal meeting ID. So this link here is the link you use for instant meetings. So if you haven't got an official schedule meeting lined up, you literally just copy this, send it to someone, and then you can both click that link at the same time and jump into a video call at any point. You've got your sign-in email here. If at any point you want to change that, you can. And it will tell you what user type you have. So we are a licensed user because we're paying for the pro version. In our meetings, our maximum capacity is 100. Our default language is English, and then there's our time zone and all of that. So then if I go to meetings, I can see all of the upcoming meetings that I have already scheduled within Zoom, and I can see all of my previous meetings as well. If I want to schedule a new meeting, I just hit this button and then this screen will come up. So let's say I want to schedule some Zoom training for tomorrow. So I put the meeting topic as Zoom training. Then I can add a description here, which people will see when they receive the meeting invite. I can say when, so I want that to be tomorrow. I want it to start at 10 a.m. and I want it to be for an hour and a half. So I make sure that I change all of the meeting details here. If I'm setting up a recurring meeting, whether that is a weekly yoga class or a monthly board meeting or a weekly team meeting, I can just hit recurring meeting and then put in all of these details as to when I want it to recur. I've then got the option here of whether I want to require registration for a meeting. Essentially what this means is that when you send a meeting invite that requires registration, anyone who wants to join that meeting will have to register with their email, name, and other questions. And you can also add custom questions as well. So you're going to want to use that if you are operating a paid for meeting or a meeting that is to members only, so that you can monitor who's signing up and who's coming in and out. I'm not going to do that for tomorrow's meeting. So the meeting ID, you can either use your personal meeting ID or you can generate the meeting ID automatically. I tend to generate a new meeting ID for each meeting, and then I can opt to require a password. So if I hit require a meeting password, then I just put whatever password I want in here, and then all attendees who receive the meeting invite will also require the password, which they will be prompted to put in when they join. So video chat, I definitely want to be on video with everyone in my meeting tomorrow, so I'm going to turn my video on and turn participants' video on. This basically means that when they join the meeting, their video will immediately kick in. And then I've got audio options below here. So at the moment it's defaulting to dial in from the United States of America, which I don't want. I want that to be the United Kingdom. So I'm going to save that. And then when I send the invitation, what that means is that if people don't have great computer audio, then they'll have the option to dial in from a telephone number as well. Then below here, we've got meeting options. So we have enable join before host, which basically means that I would be happy for my attendees to come in and talk amongst themselves while they wait for me. I can mute participants upon entry. This is really important, and I would always recommend this for larger meetings. Otherwise, when people come in, you're just going to get this huge cacophony of people joining, and the speaker view, which we'll see when we show you the demo call, will be swapping from person to person. And it doesn't mean that you're saying they can't talk. It just means that they will be muted by default when they join, and then they will have the option to unmute themselves. We can hit enable waiting room. What that means is that rather than people being able to join before the host, they will be able to sit in a waiting room and then they will the meeting will launch when you join. Only authenticated users can join, meaning they require that sign in to Zoom. And record the meeting automatically. It's really important to note that if you are recording a meeting, you do have to get people's permission. So if you're going to record the meeting automatically, then you will need to notify participants in advance. Otherwise, you can just hit record, as we'll see later when they join the call. And then if you want to add in any alternative hosts, you can do so here as well. So I'm going to hit save now. And then that brings up my meeting. So I've got options to add it to my Google Calendar, an Outlook calendar, or a Yahoo calendar. So you literally just click on this, and then it will hopefully sign you into the correct Google account, and it will create a calendar invite here. So you can check the details, you can rename this if you want to. Just like you're setting up, whether this is in Outlook or in Google or in Yahoo, just like you'd be setting up a regular meeting, you can change any details here. You can set your notifications. You can add additional notes into here as well. This is the invitation. It's basically copied over. So if it required participants to register, the registration link would be in here automatically. If it required participants to have a password, then the link would be in here automatically. So it does all of that for you. And then what I can do here if I want is I can click add guests and type in the people that I want to add, like so. And then I hit save, and that will save to my calendar. I can see the meeting ID here. It doesn't require the password. It's got a cross next to it. I can see the join URL, and I can see a link here to copy the invitation. So this is the really important thing. So within here, this essentially populates all of the information that your attendees need. You can just hit copy the meeting invitation here, and then copy that into an email and send it to people. This is exactly the same information that went into your Google Calendar invite. I can check my video settings, my password settings, my audio, where I'm dialing in from, and then I can see the meeting options that I've set. If I want to, I can go in to edit this meeting and then I can change any of the details. So all of these things which had a cross next to them, if I wanted to select mute participants on entry and save it, then when I go back in, you can see that that is ticked. I can save the meeting as a meeting template if I think that it is something that is going to recur, and then I just give that a template name. So that's how you schedule a meeting in Zoom and how you sign up for an account. And now we are going to show you what it looks like when you are on a Zoom call. Okay, so welcome to Zoom. Thank you so much for all being here. The first thing I am going to talk you through is the screen you can see in front of you. So right now, I am looking at the gallery view of Zoom. And what that means is that I can simultaneously see all of your faces at once. So this is great because if you are talking to a room of people, if you're delivering a workshop, if you're delivering a talk virtually, it is really nice to be able to see everyone at once. If you hover over your top left when you're hosting a meeting, you will see that there is a speaker view option, not the top left, the top right. If you hover over the top right, you'll see that there is a speaker view option. If you hit speaker view, that will turn into a view where you can see one participant in front of you and then all of the other participants along the top. As different participants start speaking, Zoom will detect that that person is speaking and they will be shown within the main speaker view. And then if you want to switch back to gallery view, you just go up to the top and click this little grid and that will switch you back to gallery view. Gallery view is my favorite because I really like being able to see lots of people at once. If you're running a yoga class, if you're running a fitness class, this is really good because all of your participants will probably be muted and you want to be able to see what they're doing, correct them, give them guidance. You know, if you're giving a talk, if you're, you know, even if you're performing, you know, I think a lot of comedians at the moment are thinking, oh, I can do like stand-up routines, you know, to video. It's really nice to be able to see everyone that you're talking to. So I'm going to keep this on gallery view for the majority of the call. For participants, if there is just one person talking and that's the person that they're focusing on, you may want to recommend your participants switch to speaker view, which means they can just see you. They're taking in what you're saying and they're not being distracted by everyone else that they can see across the screen. So that's the view. The second thing I'm going to talk about is just really basic setup. If you're going to be using Zoom professionally, so it means you've got paying clients coming in, watching your video, coming to a class, talking to you, you're going to want to make sure that they can see you clearly and hear you clearly. So I use an external microphone for my audio because I have a podcast, and it is this little microphone here that looks a little bit like an alien. It's only £50 from Amazon. It's called the Blue Snowball, and it just makes sure that when I'm doing video calls, when I'm doing Skype chats, when I'm recording audio, doing webcasts, it just makes my sound that little bit clearer and higher quality than it does if I was talking through my computer's microphone, which, like most computer microphones, are a little bit rubbish. So that's the audio. It's always a really good idea to run a test with someone. If it's the first time that you are setting up a Zoom meeting as a host, I'd recommend just getting a couple of friends, a couple of colleagues to come and hop on a test call first, so you can check your audio, so that you can check your picture. The second thing that it's really important to have is a good internet connection. There is absolutely nothing worse than if you are talking to someone and your internet connection keeps like dipping out, especially if you're running a fitness class, if you're running a dance class. People need to be seeing you move, and if you keep freezing, that's going to be really difficult. So again, whatever it is you're planning on hosting through Zoom, it is really, really a great idea to do a test run first of that class, just to make sure that all of that's looking good. And then the third thing I want to talk about is framing. So as you can see, I'm sat in my living room. It's very tidy. It's usually very tidy. I'm not a snob, but it's tidy. I picked up any kind of loose bits that are around. I straightened the cushions on the sofa, and I am sat really clearly and squarely right in the middle of my frame. Just makes it easier to watch. It's less distracting for people. People get to see all of you. They get to see your hand gestures. They get to see your face right in the middle of the screen. If you've got loads of stuff going on in the background that's like really kind of busy or messy, that's going to be really distracting for your participants as well. And then the other thing is lighting. So right now I am sat facing my bay window so that the light is on me. So my screen is clear, it's light, you can see me well. I can see that like a couple of you in this call have windows behind you. So I can't really see your faces that well. Obviously that's fine as a participant, you're just listening, but if you're hosting, you're gonna wanna make sure that you find a spot where your lighting looks good. And again, you can test it, you can have test calls, you can try out different rooms of your house. If you're doing stuff in the morning, you might need to be in a different room to in the evening because the light is better. My webcam on my computer isn't particularly good. I could buy a better one. But in the evenings when I've just got my living room light on, I look really fuzzy. So I have to be, unless I have a better webcam, I really should be doing stuff during the day when I can get that natural light. And then the other thing that came up on the call when one of our participants joined and they were looking a little bit fuzzy is just give your little camera a little clean. If you look a bit fuzzy, it might not be that your camera's rubbish. It might not be that there's a problem. It might just be that your computer camera just needs a little bit of a clean. So get a cloth in and just do that, and then see if it makes your picture clearer. So that's basic setup. If you are not doing something that involves just sitting like this, then testing is even more important. So if you're doing a dance class or a fitness class, you are going to want to do a test run, probably where you record yourself doing all of the movements that you're going to do within that class to make sure that you stay within the screen. You might need to put your laptop on a stand, adjust the height, adjust the angle, just make sure that your participants can see you at all times. So that's basic setup covered. Now we are going to dive into the features along the bottom panel. So when you're hosting a meeting, when you hover over the bottom panel, you will see a variety of options come up. So I'm just going to go through those from left to right. So first of all, you've got your button here to mute your own audio if you wish to, and then there's a little arrow next to it. So if you click that, you will see a bunch of sound options come up. So you can select and make sure you're using the right microphone. So I've got my blue Snowball microphone selected, or if I wanted to, I could swap that for my computer audio. I can select what speaker I want to use. I can test my speaker and my microphone before people join the meeting. And there are some more audio settings options there as well. Then moving along, there's a video option. So I can choose if I want to stop my video, which means I will disappear and there'll be a logo come up. So that's good if people just need to leave the room, if they need to pop out for a while, if they don't want to leave something that's recording. I've been on calls where I want to like have something to eat in like a long meeting. So rather than sitting eating on screen, I can stop my video. So then I just hit start again and then I come back. So any of your participants can do that at any time as well. Then you've got an arrow here, which brings up video options. So if you've got an external webcam to your computer, you can select that. And then there is a choose a virtual background option, which is quite fun. So if you are sitting in a space where you don't really like the backdrop behind you, you can choose another one. So there are some options here that are already in Zoom, or you can add an image here. So if I select these leaves, for example, that gives me a virtual background. Then I can come out of that, and then rather than seeing my room behind me, you will see the image that I just selected. It's a little bit weird because it's not a green screen, so it kind of dips in and out around your silhouette. But you know, if you don't like your background, if you don't want people to see the room you're in, you can choose a virtual background, and you can upload any image from your computer to that as well. So I am going to now turn that off and go back to my living room for you. So next going along to the right is the invite button. So when you click this, you then get a pop-up that comes up, which allows you to copy the meeting URL or copy the invitation and invite people to join the meeting that you're already in, or you can email it to them. And then you've got your manage participants here. So when you click this, a panel will come up down the right-hand side and you will see a list of all of your participants here. There's an option to mute or unmute them, and then there's more, and here you'll see a drop down of options. So you can either chat to them privately, that comes up in the bottom here. You can stop their video. So I could stop Galia's video there and then bring that back, ask her to start the video. So then she'll have to start her video again herself. There she is. I could make someone else a host. I could allow one of my participants to record. I could rename a participant, or I can remove them. So in the unlikely event that someone is being rowdy and disruptive, or you don't want them in the meeting anymore, you do have the power as a host to kick them out. I can mute everyone all at once. I can unmute everyone, and then you get a notification come up and you can mute them all. And then there's an option here when you click to mute your participants that will allow people to unmute themselves. If you untick this, it means that you have to unmute people, that they cannot unmute themselves, and only you as host are able to do that. So I am going to be nice and allow everyone to unmute themselves should they wish. So that's how you control your participants. And then if you're hosting a meeting, Galia is already doing it, I can see it clicking up and down. If you are facilitating a meeting and you don't want people to be like waving frantically or interrupting each other, your participants will have an option under their participants tab to raise their hand. So if you all want to just raise your hand, you'll see those blue icons coming up in the chat bar, and then you can basically see who wants to ask a question, and then you can come to them in turn, and as you answer their question, they can take their hand down. There we go. Thank you. So then underneath of your participants here, you will see a chat option. So you can also, I'll come back to the share screen. You can also access the chat function here, turn that on and off. So what that allows you to do in this drop down is you can send a chat to everyone in the meeting. So if I just say hello, everyone will have that come up as a notification on their chat bar. And then everyone who's in the meeting can come back and send me a hello. So you can see them coming up here on the side now. And then they have the option to message everyone and also message people privately as well. So if I just wanted to message James privately, I can send him a message. It comes up in my chat bar. Oh, thanks, James. And then he can reply to me privately if he would like to as well. Within the chat, if you're running a meeting where you want people to be reviewing documents or looking at files, there is also an option here where you can upload a file from Dropbox, OneDrive, Google Drive Box, or from your computer. In the more option here, you can opt to save the chat, and you can also select who is able to chat. So participants can only chat with you, they can chat with everyone publicly, or they can chat with everyone public and privately. So you have the option to control that. If you have a large meeting and you don't want people getting distracted by chatting backwards and forwards with each other, then again, you have the power to turn that off. And saving the chat means that you can share that round as meeting notes afterwards, which is very handy. So I'm going to close this chat and participants bar, and now we're going to look at the share screen option. So when you click this, it brings you up a whole bunch of options as to what you would like to share. So I'm going to go for my web browser and share that with everyone. So then hopefully everyone can see my screen. Give me a thumbs up if you can see. Brilliant. So this essentially allows all of your participants to see what you can see on your computer in front of you. So if there was a website that you wanted to share with people, so if you just typed BBC News, that comes up. Just as an example, you can scroll through, people will see everything as you click, and they'll be able to see see exactly your actions. So this is really helpful if, for example, you're doing something like social media training. If you're teaching people to use a piece of software, then you can go in and they can follow you as you go through each of the features. So that's really helpful for more webinar training type sessions. Or if you're just looking at something and you also want your participants to be able to see it. So you just hit stop share at the top when you want to stop sharing your screen. And then that brings you back to the chat. Another really nice function of the share screen, which I really like, is this whiteboard feature. So this then makes sure all of your participants can see a whiteboard. So thumbs up, let me know if you can all see that. Brilliant. So this essentially mimics being in a meeting where you are all coming up with ideas and collaborating in a whiteboard space. So under the draw function, you can select different types of pen, you can select different colors of writing, and then you can write in exactly the way that you would write on a whiteboard. You can add text as well. And then there's little stamps. So you've got little arrows, you've got a tick, a cross, a star, a heart, and a question mark. So you can use all of this stuff to create a whiteboard in exactly the way that you would if you were running a meeting or a training session and taking down ideas. You can clear the whiteboard at any point and you can save it at any point as well. So that can just be downloaded as an image and then circulated to your participants afterwards. So I really like this feature, and it's a really good replacement if you're finding yourself needing to host a virtual meeting in place of a physical one. So I'm going to stop my share now. Okay, so we've done invite, participants, share screen and chat. So the next one along here is you've got your pause and stop recording. So before you start recording, that will show as a little circular button that you just hit, and then it will come up in the top left here as being recording. At any point then you can pause it and resume it again, or you can stop it altogether when you are done. And then the final bit is reactions. So not quite as good as Facebook. You only get 2 reactions. People get to give you a round of applause if they really like what you're saying, or they get to give you a thumbs up. So if everyone just wants to try one of those reactions, you'll see that they come up in the top left of everyone's little picture. So that's just a really nice way to sort of, without interrupting, without saying anything, just show a little bit of appreciation, or that you get someone's point and you get what they're saying. So that's really nice. And then finally, in the bottom right here, that's how you end the meeting. So when you're ready to end the meeting for yourself and for everyone else, you just hit end meeting, then you'll get a pop-up that comes up that says end meeting for all, and then you're done. If you have recorded the meeting, once you end it, you'll get a little dialog box come up with a kind of progress bar that shows you that your recording is saved. So that's all of the features, and now we are going to go into a little bit of a Q&A. So if you found that you've got everything you want to get from the training and you're ready to go, great. And if you want to stick around for our Q&A, then make sure that you keep watching. Thanks so much. So who would like to go first? Okay, James, I'm going to unmute you.
Am I unmuted?
You are unmuted, yes.
Hi guys, so I'm James Montgomery. I'm a dancing teacher and a lecturer. I have a dancing school in Egham in Surrey, and we are looking for ways to stay connected to our pupils at this time. So we're looking at doing online classes potentially, and what you've just gone through, Alice, is amazing. So thank you so much for that. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Good stuff. Okay. Beck, let's go to you next.
Okay, so I'm specifically looking at developing an online writing class, like specifically around the short story. And I think my main question, I love Zoom and I love everything, you know, all the little bits and pieces that's there. I think my main thing is like, how many people does it serve to actually have on a Zoom? And I'm just looking at this screen, and I know that you can have multiple screens, but actually it really works to have your, there's a certain limit if you're working in that detail with a group of people. So I think that's what I'm looking at. It's like, how many people does it really serve? That they get real good quality. So that's where I'm at.
Okay. We'll come back to questions afterwards. So got that.
Yeah.
You want to answer. Okay, Galia.
Hi, I'm Galia. I'm the founder of Choc Chick. I've got a range of organic cacao and vegan chocolates, and we've been selling mainly in retailers like Holland & Barrett and Whole Foods and Hisby, and lots of independents, packaging free as well. And for me, actually, Zoom is to find a way to connect with my buyers, because I've got a really good relationship with a lot of the buyers I work with, and some of the meetings I've had, which are face-to-face, have now been cancelled, and we will start having meetings in Zoom. So I want to feel comfortable and just have, how can I have that same, I guess, connection that you have when you're meeting someone face-to-face, and still connect with the buyers and the customers, hopefully, we work with. So yeah.
Great. Taya.
Hi, I'm Taya. I call myself a bold soul life coach. I work with lots of women all over the world already. So I work a lot with Skype and a little bit with Zoom, but I had no idea what all these buttons did. So that's fantastic. And unfortunately, I was going to run a couple of retreats this year and work quite a lot with workshops. So just really good to get really comfortable with this group thing. So I already feel a lot better. Thanks, Alice.
Great stuff. Lauren. Oh, hang on, let me unmute you. Oh, there we go. You're unmuted.
Hi, I'm Lauren. I'm a commercial photographer and a commercial dance teacher. However, I wanted to get in touch with Alice and learn more about Zoom, because I'm hoping to take my skills of photo editing and share the skills of what I've been learning and how I edit my photos to other people on one-to-one tutorials.
Great idea.
I'm hoping to take it from face-to-face photo shoots that I can't obviously do at the minute, sadly, into how can I still share what I know with other people and teach them. So screen sharing and what you've taught me today will be ideal for what I want to do with my clients. So that's brilliant.
Amazing. And Rowena.
Hello, I'm Rowena Garrett. I run Rowan Tree coaching and facilitation, work with women, and a lot of work is around connection with nature. So although I coach one-to-one on Zoom and Skype at the moment, that's something I'm comfortable with. I'm really keen to be able to find new ways to bring some of what would have been in-group workshops, particularly outdoors, where you can create that connection, and new book clubs, women in nature book clubs that would have been also in person, looking at how we can bring them online as well. And one of the things of that, and this is connected to the question that was asked before, is how we can create sort of smaller groups, if there's potential for that within Zoom, so we can keep the intimacy that you can create in person. So and thank you, Alice. I'm quite familiar with the basics, but it's really nice to look at sort of new little ways to use it.
Yeah. Good stuff. Yeah, I've been like exploring all week, just like digging into like, okay, what can I make this do? So that's good. I'm really glad that it's helpful. Okay, right. I am gonna go in and I'm gonna unmute all of you because we can have a conversation. Within your options, can you see within the chat an option to raise your hand?
Yeah.
Because I can't see that as the host. So if you, so that we're not all talking over each other, if you've got a point and you want to join in the conversation, offer something to someone else, if I could just ask you to raise your hand in the chat. I've got the screen up here so I can see who's got their hand up. There we go. Lauren, did you want to say something or are you raising your hand?
I'm just trialing.
Good stuff. Okay, cool. Perfect. Okay, so
Just practicing.
There we go.
I can't find it, sorry.
I will do.
Where is it? I've forgotten where it is. Participants, tell me.
Participants.
Right.
Get participants, and then you put your name up there. Yeah, and then you can raise your hand.
I'm not really raising my hand, I just did it.
There we go. Okay, cool. Okay, so it makes sense then to come to Rowena and Beck's question first, which is about small groups. So while it's tempting to, if you've got the free version of Zoom, or if you've got the pro version, which is the cheapest, it's the $11.99 a month one, and you can have up to 100 participants in a meeting. Obviously, that's a lot of people. So when you're thinking about running your work virtually, the main advice I would give to you is think about how many people you would have in that workshop in person, and what works, and stick to that number. Like if you were doing an in-person workshop and you wouldn't sell more than 10 tickets because that's the number that works, I wouldn't get tempted to go big just because you can, because you don't have that space limitations. Because, you know, in exactly the same way, a digital workshop translated directly from a physical workshop, if it's designed to be intimate, keep it intimate. But obviously the great thing is about doing it virtually is because you haven't got the overheads that you would have associated with a physical workshop, you can just run multiple ones. Does that sort of answer your question? Completely, absolutely. Thank you. And Rowena, thinking about your Women in Nature book club rather, if you've got a strong enough internet in your garden, like if you've got an outside space, you can sit outside, encourage people to sit outside, which could work really nicely. Yeah. That's definitely part of the plan. Absolutely. Good stuff. Yeah. And I just want to recommend as well, so as soon as it started to look like we were going down into lockdown, since we moved in, the Wi-Fi in my bedroom has been absolutely shocking. Like I can't even sit in bed and watch a YouTube video. It's on the other side of the flat and the router's in here. So we just bought like a 35 quid Wi-Fi booster from Amazon. We've put it in our kitchen, and now the internet in the bedroom is fantastic. I did a fitness class in there yesterday, and the internet was absolutely fine. So if you do have bits of your house and you are going to be wanting to run meetings in, and you know that you have Wi-Fi issues, I definitely recommend spending 30 quid on a Wi-Fi booster. They really, really work. Cool. Who else has questions? James.
Hi, thank you. So my question was to do with the classes. Obviously, you said that you've been doing a fitness class, which is great because that's exactly what we're looking to do. Lots of tips on being a participant as well as what you thought worked. But my question was about sound for that kind of thing. I've heard kind of online that if you use the sound from your laptop, sometimes that's not great, and it's better to have an external sound source. Yes. You found that that's what you've come across as well? So
I would, for ease, and I'm not like a sound technician, there is probably a way of doing this that is better. But like I said, I've just got this little podcast microphone, this Blue Snowball, which was 50 quid. And we had a virtual birthday party for a friend of mine a couple of days ago, so we couldn't go anywhere. And my partner is a singer-songwriter, and she got her guitar out and played, and we had the podcast mic set up, and the sound from that was absolutely brilliant. I got someone to just send a recording from their end of how the sound sounded, and the music and everything came through totally crystal clear. So if you are playing music, then a podcast mic should be able to pick that up really well.
Sure, thank you. That's great. So what I'd heard is that people were playing it from laptops and recording on laptops, and the laptop was not working. So they were having a separate sound system next to the laptop to record it, or what would be your amazing new microphone if I get one.
I've got like a little portable Bluetooth speaker as well, and like the sound of that is really clear. So setting that up next, near to your podcast microphone, the quality should be pretty good. The one thing I would make sure though is so the way that Zoom works is it automatically detects who is speaking, and then it dampens the sound for everyone else. So if you are playing music, you are definitely going to want to make sure that all of your participants are on mute, because if any of them, let's say one of them, and I say this because I was doing a pole fitness class and I fell over a few times, if they make a loud noise and they fall over or they shout out, then the sound's going to default to them and it's going to dampen down your music.
All the music goes and all you hear is...
So suddenly they'll be like, your music will go quiet and someone will be like, ow!
That's a really good tip. Thank you for that.
Or people complaining about, oh, my abs, you know.
Yeah, you definitely want to cut that down. It only should be
So use your power as a host, mute everyone, and just make sure that they can hear you, and encourage them to put it onto the speaker view at the top here rather than the gallery view.
Sure.
Because then it's going to make sure that it picks up what you are doing.
That's great. Thank you so much.
No worries. Lauren.
Hello. I was going to say, is there a maximum time limit that you can do your chats for, whether it be a pro or a free version?
So if you are on the free version, your chats are limited to 40 minutes. You can like jump out and jump back on again, but that doesn't look very professional if people are paying to be on it. You know, and it's blinking annoying technology wise. Like if you've gone to all this trouble of making sure this technology all works and everything's set up and you're in flow, and then you have to start again, that's annoying. But the $11.99 a month version, you can have a meeting that lasts 24 hours should you choose to.
Is that inclusive of if your participants are all free as well?
It's free for participants, yeah. So they don't have to pay to join the meeting, and they can stay on for as, you know, so as the host, that you are paying to have the extended meeting. So, you know, we've been on this call now for 45 minutes, so it hasn't kicked you out even though you have free accounts, because I'm the host, so it's picking that meeting duration up from my account.
Thank you.
Cool. Rowena.
Just to follow up on the paid one, because we're looking, I think we're using it in slightly different ways. I have the pro account, so I can have those longer meetings with multiple people. But if you're only going to use it one-to-one, so if you are, say, talking to clients one-to-one, then your meetings can last as long as you want them to. So I just thought I'd throw that in case there's not value for you in purchasing it if you are only going to have the one-to-one meeting. So just throwing that in.
No, that's a really good point. So just to clarify, on the free plan you can have unlimited one-to-one meetings, but as soon as you have an extra person in the call, it will kick you out after 40 minutes. Taya.
Hi, are there any more advantages to having the pro version? And my second question is, when you record your meeting, how do you find it afterwards?
Ooh, good questions. So I mean, I've been using Zoom as a free version up until like literally this week, when we were like, okay, we got to buy the pro one because we now really need to use this for our business, like a lot of people. So it really is just that if you want to run the group meetings for more than 40 minutes, as far as I know, as I can see, there are a few more features, but not massive. If you are just using Zoom in the basic way that we're using it, you should be able to do everything that you are able to do. So it really is just you know, like Rowena said, if you are wanting to deliver your workshops, your training to more than one other person. Secondly, that's another advantage to the pro version, is you get a certain amount of cloud storage space to store your recordings, but it's not very big. So you can record and download direct to your computer, which is what I do. What happens when you stop recording is at the end of the call, you'll get like a little loading bar, and it will be processing your recording, and then it will download it to your PC within a Zoom folder that sits within your PC documents. So you can access it through there, and it will be date stamped. That folder will be date stamped with the meeting, so you can find it through the time and date stamp before you rename it. What's also really good, which I didn't realize before this week, is that as well as recording your video, it also exports your audio only separately. So if you're recording a podcast through Zoom, you can just export the audio and have that as a separate audio track, or use that to maybe, you know, overlay other you know, like any graphics or any animations you want to make, or just use the audio and put that out as a podcast. So that's really, really handy as well. But it will just download straight to your computer. You just got to wait for it to process at the end.
Great. Thanks. That's so helpful. Cheers.
Stuff. Lauren, did you have your hand up again?
I wanted to ask if there was a way to record or see, like if you're in a big lecture, if you're teaching a lot of people, to see who actually attended it afterwards.
Yes. So when you, so like I said, I've recorded a little kind of intro to setting up and scheduling a meeting. When you are scheduling your Zoom meetings, there is an option where you can request registration for participants, which means that when you send the invite, it gives them a link to register, which means they have to enter their name, they have to enter their email, and then you can add any custom questions in there that you want as well. So if you are doing a paid for workshop, I didn't use it for this one because, you know, you all just jumped on and I sent you a link. But if you're doing a paid for workshop that you're advertising, then requiring that registration so you can keep track of participants is how you do that. You know, if you've got a dance studio or a fitness studio and people are paying a membership and you're giving that to your members, you're going to want to be matching up your attendees with your member lists and things like that. You can also require a password for people to enter meetings as well. So every time you set up a new meeting, you can set a unique password, which means people will only be able to get in by entering that password as well. So you can sort of lock it down. I had a waiting room enabled here as well before I joined, which meant that it flashed up when you were in the waiting room, and then I had to personally admit you. So I just wanted to do that so that people jumping in weren't just coming in and interrupting people's conversations, like I had a bit of control over it. So you can do that as well. If you want to kind of control as and when you're letting people in, you can enable that waiting room. But yeah, the top of this video, there'll be a little kind of step-by-step guide that I've done with a screen grab to setting meetings up.
Thank you.
No worries. Any more questions? And it doesn't have to be practically about Zoom. You know, you guys have been so helpful in coming on this for me. So any support around, you know, ideas, creativity, you know, we've got some really creative brains on this call. So, you know, let's all support each other with ideas and suggestions. James. Oh, sorry, Beck.
Yeah, just so we say with the workshop, the workshop's recorded and it's made available. Is there a way of protecting how many people get to access the recordings, or is it once it's out there, it's out there?
So when you download the recording, it just downloads to your computer as like a video file, an MP4 file. So you can then obviously choose how you send that to people. So you can upload it to a like private like Vimeo and just host it on your website so that people can access it and stream it, and they maybe have to enter a password or be invited or be logged into an account. You can send it to them privately, but obviously that means they'll then have the file, so they'll be able to distribute it. You can put it out there on YouTube. So with this training, for example, we are going to be wanting to give it to people for free. So we're just going to be editing it together, putting it on Facebook, putting it on YouTube. But we could well upload that to our site in like a privately hosted channel and put it behind a paywall or put it behind a sign up form on our website. So yeah, basically that video recording is then yours. It isn't housed in Zoom. You download it to your computer and then you can choose how that file is distributed in the same way as any other video.
Great, thank you.
No worries. Yes, Rowena.
So I know we're about to finish up. There's just one thing that's, as it is the sort of people who are on the call, I think one of the things that I'm really thinking about and letting settle for a while is not just what my offerings are at the moment, so they're really specific to the time, you know, and the messaging within that, and yeah, just really making sure that the tone is right. And I would just love to hear people's thoughts around that, how that's kind of sitting with people. And I guess part of that is also what thoughts, if any, you've had in terms of your pricing, and, you know, sort of your offerings, and whether you've shifted. I know this is different for different people, but whether you've shifted your offerings perhaps for different groups. An example might be, you know, sort of key workers, or, you know, self-employed who are really struggling at the moment. I'm putting together a package of coaching specifically for self-employed people who are, you know, whose income has really shifted, and looking at a longer payment period as well as reduced prices, and being quite explicit in that. So yeah, it would just be really interesting to see how you feel about it, your thoughts on it. Is that okay, Alice?
Yeah, that's fine. And I, you know, I can go and share what's been going on for us. So I run, as you all know on this call, so the Joyful Web is a digital marketing agency. We've been going for nearly 3 years now, so 2.5 years. And as we have grown, our clients have grown, as our reputation has grown, and we were definitely in that space where we had, you know, really moved away from working with small businesses, you know, kind of solo entrepreneurs, to working with bigger corporates. And I think for us, a big thing that this whole situation we now find ourselves in has shifted for us is the importance and how passionately we feel about supporting smaller businesses and supporting business owners that are finding themselves in a similar situation. So what we're actually doing is, at the moment, Sophie and I are looking at packaging the kinds of services that we were offering to corporates for, you know, extremely high price points, packaging them into affordable packages for smaller businesses, so we can support them to get their offering to a point where it is, you know, digitally enabled, helping them with their marketing, helping them with their online communications and their online branding. And that's not a route that I think we would be even looking at going down at this point if this whole situation hasn't happened. And we're actually really excited by it and passionate about it, and doing stuff like this where I get to go on calls with small business owners and, you know, and help, you know, offer my services. I think I've really got present to how important that is to me and is to us as a business. So we have changed our offering in response, and we are looking at developing new packages from our perspective as well.
I would just say, I'm with you, Rowena. I'm as a coach, as soon as this happened, I'm like catching up with it myself, but I'm feeling very much like I'm going to be offering some low cost stuff as well. I'm not exactly sure what that looks like, but I'm about to do it because I just, I mean, I think that I want to offer that, but I think it's also, it feels good to offer that as well at this time. But I just feel very inspired by doing this, Alice, because I was actually on a call last night with 20 people on the Zoom call. And it took a while to get through it, getting everybody to have a chance to speak. But I saw how it can really work. And I'm just thinking about workshops I can offer and programs and all this kind of stuff. I'm going to sit down with all my ideas now. So this has been brilliant. Thanks.
Yeah. And I think as well, this is really going to change the way a lot of businesses operate, you know, particularly I'm loving being able to like hop into yoga classes and not have to go anywhere or like travel to you know, get like, I had like a one-to-one basically personal training session in my bedroom yesterday. I didn't have to go anywhere or travel or navigate public transport. I just put my exercise gear on and I was good to go. And then I could just go straight in the shower afterwards. You know, it was really good. Had my windows wide open, fresh air coming in. It was great. Yes, Scully, you had your hand up.
I'll unmute. Yes, I mean, it's really interesting because I've got a product-based company. So for me, it's trying to work out how we sell more online, obviously, because we need to really focus on that. But also, how do I engage? Because I do a lot of sampling sessions. I've always been out meeting customers. So just trying to think of ways of, you know, doing maybe short videos or things that I can put on Instagram, or I've got loads of recipes. So I really want to share recipes, and certainly what I'm going to do every day now is a recipe a day with store covered ingredients and obviously cacao. I mean, trying to get people to, you've got so much time now at home to be able to create their own recipes, and ideally with our products, but with just generally, just to increase the awareness of who we are and what we offer. So it's really interesting. But for me, Rebecca, what you were saying about that connection, I'm really finding it that I'm becoming a recluse because I'm so used to being around people, and I really, you know, my energy is, I pick up on other people. I really need, so having a group like this is phenomenal. I've really enjoyed it. So thank you, Alice.
Oh,
but it's great to have this ability to connect like this. It didn't even occur to me until now. So yeah, it's great.
Good stuff. Well, maybe we'll look at doing like a weekly kind of like business questions session. That would be easy enough to do, and then people can hop on and just ask for collective expertise.
That'd be great.
Cool. Rowena, yes. Everyone's reacting. Yeah. Well done putting that training into practice.
Yeah. It was really, I guess, two things that came out of what you just said, Galia, if it's all right for me to respond to that, was that I think one for me, because I live on my own, and routine has been massively important, and I am not a natural routine person, but I'm having a bit of I'm actually really actively doing it, and so that and building into that routine, conversations and Skypes and dances, there's always free like group dancing online, and just one track and things like that, and I'm sure we're getting this sorted, but I think it's really important to remember that, and also feeling that and Alice, I think you talked about this as well, just really going, don't have to sort it all this week, like don't have to have all the answers this week, because we can that can really build up. And I don't know about you, but I am being bombarded with, you can set this up and you can create this and you can do this, and have you got your marketing, and are you doing this and are you doing that, blah blah blah. It's like switching it off, and doing it in our own time, and really feeling into it, because the pressure would be really easy to put on ourselves, and we've all got bills to pay, and a lot of us have lost our income, or some of it, but actually this isn't like, it's a marathon. We're in a marathon here, not a sprint. So I imagine there's a lot of wise people on this call, and I imagine we've all realized that, but just that's something that I am daily reminding myself of. So yeah.
And I think as well, like the number of messages I've seen that's like, use this time to get fit, use this time to learn a new skill, use this time to do this. Like, you don't have to use this time to do anything. You can use this time to like lie on your yoga mat and do nothing. And I have done a fair bit of that in the last few days, and it's been lush. So there's no pressure.
Yeah, that's perfect. It's just been amazing. I actually discovered Netflix. I really enjoyed it. Never do that before, but we've just been watching box sets and it's been gorgeous. Just really enjoyed it with some wine. There we go.
Yeah. James.
Just interesting what Galia and Rowena were saying, and in fact you as well, Rebecca, about just finding time and not realizing that interaction that you've been so used to having with people, you really miss. And we've only been doing this for 2 days. And already I'm in the house with my other half. We live in the Highlands of Scotland, so all of my family are a plane ride away anyway, which I should have already been down twice since this all started. And I'm used to going down every couple of weeks, and already this is becoming really important. Being able to do this with my family is going to be most important. And just sitting here talking to you guys and hearing that you're going through exactly the same things, and we're all having very similar thoughts, and it's all okay. It will be okay. Financially, spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally, it will eventually be okay. But being able to use this technology is going to be really helpful for a lot of people. So thank you, Alice. It's really, really good.
Oh, thank you. Galia, did you raise your hand? I saw it briefly. Yeah.
Yeah, I did. Thank you. Yeah, no, James, absolutely. I mean, I've been now in isolation for 12 days because I've been ill. So that's why my voice is a bit strange and my breathing's not great yet. But I've been really ill for 10 days on my own. So it was really tough. So having something like this is amazing. But I couldn't even speak, so it was difficult to have the face. I did, my parents live abroad, and this time I was supposed to be in Israel on a flight now for my nephew's bar mitzvah tomorrow. So we're doing a whole Zoom for his bar mitzvah. So he's going to be at home, and the whole family from all over the world is going to be doing this. So this is really timely, because I was thinking, I need to feel better and put makeup on. So I got my eyes done and just feel normal again. But it really helps me to feel a bit more comfortable with speaking. I feel really awkward not having that face-to-face, like reading people's reactions, I guess, or being connected like that. So this is really good training for me. and I'm going to be doing a lot more of this, obviously, with family like you, like everyone, really, to connect, because I also live on my own, so I've not been able to see my daughters. I'm not, so it's going to be a great way to have that interaction that I miss. But hopefully we'll have this bar mitzvah tomorrow, but we're going to dress up as if we're going. So it should be great.
And that's the other thing. If you buy Zoom for your business, then that is your link to use however you want. You can send it to all of your family and say to all your family, here you go, I've bought this thing, now we can all get on this call. Like, it's not just a business thing. Anyone can use it. So, my friend has it for her business, and she used it to have her virtual birthday party, and we all logged on at the same time. We tried to play a card game together. She was holding stuff up and we were all guessing and shouting out, and it was a total mess, but it was great fun. And then people got like guitars and ukuleles out and were playing songs, and it was really fun. Taya.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just with you. I'm like, you could probably do this training for literally everybody in the world right now. But the other thing I was thinking, around the not taking pressure off, I was also thinking of the theme of this time gives a lot of clarity, I think. I think everybody's getting a lot of clarity about who's important to them, who, how they want to show love even more. And also like what's important within their work and in their business. I definitely think there's things that I've not been doing because I feel slightly scared of them, especially sometimes things online, although I do a bit. But I've just thought, basically, excuse the swearing, fuck it. This isn't the time to be messing around. If I want to do that thing, right, I'm just going to be a bit bolder and do it, basically.
Yeah. And I think, that is a really like fair point. Like being on video, if you're not used to it, is like really scary. Like, I got nervous just going on a call with you guys, and you're all people I talk to, like, and interact with in the real world. But I think a lot of people, as soon as you stick a camera on them, it's like, it's really...
I used to be at the front of a class, I can talk to anybody, but stick me in front of a camera and I'm like, I feel really awkward. Why am I blinking so much? I don't usually blink this much.
Like even this morning, I was filming like a little setup intro, not even my face, just my voice on like a webcast. And I was like tripping over my words, and I was like, what's wrong with you? There's no one here, you're just recording yourself. So that's a definite, like, that really is a hurdle for a lot of people to get over. But like anything, you just got to do it once. Like, I was so nervous this morning, and like now I've done it, I'm like, oh, that's fine, I'll do that again happily. Rowena.
I was muted. I completely agree, and I've realised I have an Instagram voice which I need to get rid of. A bit like a telephone voice, because actually people just want to hear you, so I take a breath and then do it. But actually, testimony to all of this is the fact that, Alice, you and I have actually only met in person once, and it was at a workshop that you ran. And now, through being friends on Facebook and also Joyful Web stuff and other interactions, I feel, and I think we're on a similar level in a lot of stuff. There's a natural connection there, but actually it's been almost completely virtual. So it would be really nice to see you again in person at some point in the future.
When all this is over.
But actually, there's just so much you can do, isn't there? I'm glad that we're doing this now and not in the 14th century. So.
Yeah.
Or 1919.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. The last time this happened, there was no technology.
But even 10 years ago.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's true. Cool. Well, before we sign off, are there any more questions? No? Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining. I really appreciated it. Thank you for being here while I got out of my comfort zone, and I am really glad you found it all useful. So we will edit this up as fast as we can and get it out. So hopefully within the next few days, there's quite a lot of stuff to edit. So
thank you very much.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, Alice. Well done. Brilliant.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye. Alice, can I ask one question that's just come up that I didn't think of before?
Yeah,
you know the whiteboard?
Yeah.
You can share it. Can you make it so that your participants can write on it as well, or is it just yours?
Ooh, let me have a look. So when I go to the whiteboard, so you can all see it. So let's have a look. Can you see the so you can all see the whiteboard now?
Yeah.
Can you see an option to be able to write on it?
Maybe at the top? No.
Oh, annotate. Are you click? I can click annotate.
Yeah.
So then
Oh,
I
there
can
we go.
put text in.
Yeah.
Well, I've just done a stamp. Well, I've just added.
Oh, there we go.
stamp.
Oh yeah, we can. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome. I'm just thinking with
So there you
tutors,
go.
that could be really cool.
Yeah. So literally everyone can write something. If you want to write something, go ahead, have a go. Yay!
That's really
Brilliant.
Great bit of.
Oh, yay. See, we learned something new this time.
Exactly. Thank you. Yay!
And you can save it yourself to your own one as well.
Yes.
You can download it so they can. That's really cool.
And if you click arrow, it will say whose arrow it is. So
Yeah.
it has my name on it.
And you can't rub out other people's stuff. You can only rub out your own stuff. That's quite cool.
Oh, this is all really helpful. That's
Until
good to
kids
know.
start swearing and you can't.
Very true.
And where do you see? So the arrow, would you see? Because I can't even see where the whiteboard is on mine. Is it just on yours? I mean, I'm on it now. Because
Okay,
you
so
shared it.
Here.
up the very top where it says you are viewing Alice Reeves' screen, can you see that?
No.
So if you
Oh,
move
okay, so move your mouse around so that comes up. Move it towards
Oh, yes. Okay.
and then where it says view options, there's the little arrow, and you can go down there, and about 2/3 of the way down it says annotate.
Yes. No, I got that. No, I found that because I've been able to write on it, but I can't see. Where James said that if you do the arrow, you can see your name.
So if you go into the annotate section and click arrow, and then just click on it. There you go.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think you can point out if somebody's written
Oh,
something.
I see.
If you see here.
Clever.
I can select and like move stuff around as well.
Ooh.
So I can select your stuff with the select tool and then move it all around.
I think that's just you. So
I can reorder your notes as you go.
We could be here a very long time now, couldn't we?
This is really cool though. You could have like collaborative art sessions digitally.
Yeah.
This is awesome. Oh, I'm so glad we learnt this as well.
Yeah, this is really good. This is a new school day for me as well. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you found this training helpful. If you have any more questions about Zoom, about digital marketing, feel free to get in touch with me via our website, thejoyfulweb.com. We're also on Twitter and Instagram at We Are The Joyful, and on Facebook and LinkedIn at The Joyful Web. Good luck using Zoom, enjoy, and hopefully see you soon.